one of the things that I do want to talk about is another way of just reducing stress, which is really, really super easy, is having a pause in between tasks. So for someone who works in an office, every time you stand up out of your chair or every time you change a tab on your computer, just sit, take a deep breath in and deep breath out. And it gives you that pause in between your tasks, which helps you to realize that, one, you're achieving things throughout the day, and two, you're just calming that nervous system. What happens often is by the end of the day, you've just gone from, one task to the next task, you've gone from work to home, to parenting, to partnering, to, being a chef, to being a cleaner, you do all of these tasks and you drop down exhausted at the end of the day and you feel like you've got nothing achieved.
Talking with the Experts.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. My name's Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners, and you can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And today it's my very great pleasure to introduce you to Lucy Butler from Head to Heart Health. And Lucy is a health and healing specialist and the founder of Head to Heart Health, and her mission is to help everyone to calm their mind, energize their bodies, and reboot their life by showing you the way to investigate who you truly are. By reclaiming your identity and purpose and letting go of the limiting of social conditioning and expectations. Welcome, Lucy, and thank you so much for joining me. And it's such a great pleasure to finally put a voice to a face.
Thank you. Yes, it's lovely to be here and seeing you around a lot, and it's nice to be able to sit and have a conversation.
Yeah, it's terrific. Okay, tell me a little bit about your business journey. How did you end up where you are now?
A few years ago, I was working full-time in early childhood education as an assistant director in a big childcare centre in kindergarten. And I was a single mum. My son started school and I just started getting burnt out. I was getting really exhausted. I was getting really overwhelmed. I was starting to get really depressed. I started binge drinking on weekends and becoming really unhealthy. But the most unhealthiest part of it was the negative self-talk in my head, the shame and the guilt that I was putting on myself. The way that I was talking negatively to myself was far more harmful than any of the stuff that I was putting in my body or any of the things that I was doing as far as overworking or trying to do it all. And so my son said to me one day, "Mum, if you're a komochi," which is a little tangible tool we use to teach kids emotions, he said, "your emotions would be sad and frustrated." And that just broke my heart for my son to be able to pick up on that at the age of 4. And so I decided I needed to make a change. So I quit my job and I went and worked part-time and started studying. And the first thing I started was health coaching. So I learned more about nutrition and about mindset. And that was a huge change for me. That changed a lot of the feelings that I was having for myself and for my son as well. And then I started getting more into the healing side of things. And when I saw the change that I was making within myself and within like my relationship with my son, I decided that I needed to learn it to be able to help other people. So I started my business while I was working part-time. And for the last couple of years, I've been working part-time either in kindergartens, working with kids, or I've done a little bit of office management and stuff like that, while I've been learning and building the business. And then this year I went all in and I've been doing the business full time, which has been really exciting. I've had so much more time to spend with people and to put into learning more about what I want to learn to help people more as well, which has just been fantastic. The community around Head to Heart Health has been growing a lot, and I've made some really great friendships, I think, with people because I've had more time to talk to other business owners and business people as well, that I necessarily didn't have while I was working part-time and single parenting.
Yeah, I've been watching your journey for 2 or 3 years now, probably longer than that. And it's just gone from strength to strength. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about healthy habits and easy planning tools to reduce stress and to give people more time for doing the things that would benefit them. So I guess we could start with, could you just list a few of the healthy habits and how we can plan to do those?
Yeah, absolutely. Healthy habits don't have to take a long time, but as all habits, they have to be created over a certain amount of time for them to become really natural. So what I find when I work with people is, they get really excited about creating these new healthy habits, but we need to start them off at, one at a time or two at a time so that they are achievable for them and not overwhelming in any way. A really healthy habit that I found has worked for me and a lot of other people is meditation. And meditation for some people, it's as a 2 minutes, just 2 minutes of counting your breath. It could be, just counting 4 breaths, like for the count of 4 in and for the count of 4 out, and just doing 4 of those. So for some people, it can be really short. For some people, it's going for a walk every day and just having some quiet time to themselves. I've had some clients who it was just drinking a nice hot cup of tea in their backyard and watching their chickens, forage in the garden, or just walking around and looking at all of their flowers that they've grown. So meditation can come in so many different ways, but it's the stopping and being still and calming down and just slowing down the breath that helps the nervous system and it helps reduce that stress. And it's a habit that you can do at any time of the day. You don't have to do it in the morning, or you don't have to do it straight away after work or anything. You can do it at any time on your lunch break. So it's a really healthy habit that helps people to just come back to themselves, ground themselves a little bit and reduce that stress levels. Movement is another really healthy habit. So it could be, just 5 minutes of stretching, 10 minutes of stretching. It could be, a 20-minute high intensity workout, going to the gym, walking with friends, going for a swim, dancing in the kitchen, any sort of type of movement, because our bodies just need to move and get that energy flowing through us. So that's a really healthy movement. And one of the other healthy habits that I talk to people a lot about is meal planning. So a lot of people hate the idea of meal planning because they think that it seems too rigid or it's going to take too much time. But when you have the right tools and you get into the swing of things, it actually saves you time every day. It saves you the stress of trying to work out what you're having for dinner and when you have to go and get the ingredients. And even stopping at the supermarket on the way home from work can be stressful for people because they're exhausted and they just want to get home and they don't want to have to put up with the crowds at the supermarket, or trying to work their way through that supermarket and make that decision for what they have to buy. So meal planning can be a really healthy habit that can help reduce that stress and save you time.
I used to hate supermarket shopping, even when I was well, and now I do it online, and it's still stressful though. Try and do your shopping online, even because you think, oh, what am I going to have this week to eat? And so meal planning, is a good idea. Actually, I hadn't really thought about planning meals. I mean, my husband does the cooking, and he's a creature of habit, so we just tend to eat the same stuff every day, or like not every day, but the same day every week.
Every week.
So I try and buy ingredients that we can mix it up a little bit.
What I found, and this might work for you too, Rose, is that Monday to Friday, when we're a little bit busier and we don't want to have meals that take too long, or we don't want to overthink things or increase that decision fatigue, as I call it, we might have maybe 10 or so meals that we choose from, and we do them during Monday to Friday. And then on the weekend, say like we might choose Sundays where we have that little bit of time, we look at new recipes and we try new foods, and we have a little bit of that creativity and experimentation on the weekend when we feel a lot more relaxed. And, if it's going to take us a little bit extra time to learn how to rub some beautiful spices under some chicken skin before we slow cook it, we can do that on a weekend.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea, actually. So what about the people who are physically challenged to be able to do movement? I know for myself, I have problems with walking around any great distance. So, what are sort of the things that people could do that are, sort of chair-bound or bed-bound even?
Absolutely. There has been some great people making chair yoga. So chair yoga is different stretches and stuff that you can do from sitting in the chair. I know for me, I actually fell over a few years ago and I threw out my hip, my knee and my ankle all on my right leg. So all on the same leg, they all sprained, dislocated or twisted in some way that was quite painful. And it took me quite a while to regain that strength and mobility in my leg. And so every morning I would do upper body exercises, so upper body weights or upper body strength, might have been sit-ups or push-ups or anything like that, and then weights and stuff. And my upper body became really, really strong. And it wasn't until I gained that mobility back in my leg that I started walking slowly and gaining that strength back. I think being in the water is a really good one for people who do have chronic pain or have low mobility in their joints, because it does take a lot of that pressure off of the joints being in the water. I go down to the pool. My dad is 72. He goes and swims, 20 laps of the local pool every morning. And he has a couple of mates that do the same thing. Some of them are older than him. Some of them are a little bit younger. But once a year, he swims 70 laps, or his age. He'll swim his age. So this year, he'll swim 73 laps once a year. But they have people who will go down and, my dad swims so slowly, I could swim 3 laps to his one. But then he's got friends that they just do some walking in the pool, and they just gently, they're just gently walking through the water and having that low impact walk in the water. Others just, have a flotation device and just slowly go through. So depending on your level of movement, there is something that you could probably find that will help. And even if you're targeting, if you've got bad hips, you're targeting your upper body. If you've got, bad elbows or something, you might be doing things for your lower body. It just depends on where you're at with your physical health. Yeah,
they're really good ideas. Yeah, I hadn't thought about upper body work, but I might just sit here and lift my weights.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, and I've had clients who have, the same thing, have had problems with their hips or their knees or arthritis in their feet. And I've just said to them, even if you just grab a couple of soup cans and you just, when you're watching TV, or you might be, reading a book, you can hold your book, you can go like this with a couple of soup cans. And the thing is with exercise, even if it's 10 minutes a day, it's better than no minutes a day. And you are getting some of that mind muscle connection, and your body is getting that movement that it needs.
Yeah, I've heard, that a healthy body is supposed to have a healthy mind, but is that always the case?
For me, I very much advocate that the happiness comes before the health. So that the mind is very much the most important part of being healthy, because I also think that once your mind's healthy, when your stress levels are lower and you've got that calmer, healthier mind, you tend to feel more energetic, you tend to feel more motivated to move, you tend to want to, you tend to want to be active, you tend to want to be involved in things a lot more. When your mind's not healthy, that's when you look at, sitting on the couch and binge watching Netflix, or snacking on junk food or drinking too much and those sorts of things, because what I find with the people I work with is that they often try to match their activity to their mood level. So if they're feeling depressed, they'll eat food that matches depression. If they're feeling happy and energetic, then they will, they're more likely to grab a bottle of water and go for a walk. So that mindset stuff definitely comes first for me, I think.
Yeah. So we don't. Do you in your business, obviously Head to Heart Health, you help your clients through, say if they're depressed or have some sort of challenge with their feelings. So do you help them through that to be able to align their mental health with their physical health?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's my main, the main thing that I work with people is balancing that emotion. So it starts with reducing stress levels, finding ways to reduce stress levels, which is why we go through things like, meal planning or finding a time to pause and have a break, have a meditation, those sorts of things, because that reduces the stress levels. And then we look at balancing those emotions by really connecting in with your body, because a lot of people are emotional eating, a lot of people are emotional drinking, a lot of people are like the anxiety is coming in more and more as well, and people not being able to sort of really work out where that's coming from is having a real impact on their health. If you're starting to talk negatively to yourself and you're having some of those negative thought patterns, it really affects the way that your body digests food. It affects the cortisol levels. It affects your hormones, and then once your hormones are affected, your moods are affected and your sleep's affected, and all of these sorts of things roll on from that. So the mindset stuff, the emotional things are what we work on first, no matter what. If you've come in to stop smoking, if you've come in to lose weight, if you've come in to reduce anxiety or stress levels or anything, it's that emotional stuff that happens first.
Yeah, have you noticed any significant changes since March last year with your clients, or old and new, because of lockdowns and so forth? Have you noticed any significant changes in mental health?
Absolutely, I have. I think people are identifying a lot more with anxiety, and the fear stuff is coming in spades, and it's starting to seep into other areas of life. Rather than just being afraid of getting sick, people are afraid of going out, people are afraid of being judged, people are afraid of getting things wrong, of failing, of being rejected. Like, there's so much fear that's coming in, and because we don't have these great tools of being able to cope with these things, or to calm our mind and release this negative emotion, it seems to be creeping into those other parts of life and affecting relationships and affecting parenting and affecting eating as well.
Yeah, I think that all these lockdowns, they've got to stop. I think we just have to accept the fact that this virus is going to be around for years to come, and I don't think lockdowns are helping anybody, really. I think that's just my opinion. How can someone's mental health be improved if they're looking at the same four walls all the time? They can't leave their yard and all that sort of thing. Right. So I think
the more I talk to people, the more people are saying, they're not interested in going to parties anymore. They're not interested in going to networking events. They're not interested in going out for dinner, because they've been told that to fear it, and they're really taking that on. They're taking on that fear without knowing how to clear it, and without knowing how to, be really clear on what's going to be best for them mentally. They can't see past that fog that's happened around in the last 18 months. And people are really afraid of going out and doing those things now.
Yeah, I think they might be. I've noticed a change down here in Tassie, just the way people, we haven't had lockdown for a long time, but I still see changes in the way people are behaving, when they are going out, practicing the social distancing and all that sort of thing. So even now, so there is a big fear factor, and I just don't touch that because you might get sick.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that I tell my story a lot to people is because of that hope. People need to have hope. the longer that things have gone on over this year, and the more that we're sort of not seeing an end game, the more we're losing hope that things can go back to being great, or things can go back to normal, or things can change. And the more that people lose hope, that, the harder it gets, the more despair there is, the more fear there is, the more anxiety there is. And so I talk to people about my story, tell people that I was a binge drinker, that I was overwhelmed, that I was burnt out, that, my relationship with my son was very strained, and that I wasn't coping very well with, trying to be the mum and the dad and all of that sort of stuff, because I want people to have hope that they can change. People that I've met and only have known me for the last few years can't even believe that I used to drink a lot, or that I used to be a smoker, or that I used to, be depressed, or any of those things, or that I would sit on the couch and watch Netflix all Friday, like for a whole Friday night, because that's not the kind of person I am now. And so when they can see the changes that I've made, they have that hope that things can change, and that they can, calm their mind and energize their body and de-stress their life.
Yeah, I think having someone as an example is a good thing. I know I'm speaking at an international women's forum next month, and just about change, and how people can be from one thing to another thing, and sometimes it's hard even for families, members of your family, to understand that you have changed your behaviour from when they saw you 2 years ago and to what you are now. So it's hard to get that across to them when they don't really see you all that often. And so it's just it's a challenge, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. People have a sort of a snapshot of who you are in their head, and sometimes that can be really hard for them to change. I know my brother's 35, he's engaged, and he has a child and all that sort of stuff, but when my friends who knew him as a teenager see him, they're like, oh my god, I can't believe he's a real man now, like because of that snapshot in time that they've got of him running around, following us around when we were kids. And I know even for my mum, she would say, what would you like for Christmas? I said, just give me money. And she'd go, no, because you'll spend it on alcohol. And I'm like, well, I don't even drink. But she had that snapshot of me in her head of when I was younger, and I was drinking so much, so yeah, it's funny. It takes quite a while for people to get used to the changes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I haven't had a drink now for like 3 or 4 years now, but my kids still think that I'm a drink every day, and I don't. Yeah. I haven't had a drink, and I gave up cigarettes as well, about 5 years ago, and I don't smoke anymore. But you're right, it's a snapshot. They think, well, Mum, if you're going to have one drink, you'll be drunk. And I thought, well, I probably will be now, because I haven't had alcohol for such a long time. But I think I'm a bit frightened to have any, just in case.
Yeah, exactly right. You never know what's going to happen after one.
No. So, Lucy, have you got some sort of exercise or mindset thing that you'd like to share with us before we go off today?
Yeah, sure. One of the things that I do want to talk about is another way of just reducing stress, which is really, really super easy, is having a pause in between tasks. So for someone who works in an office, every time you stand up out of your chair, or every time you change your tab on your computer, just sit, take a deep breath in and deep breath out. And it gives you that pause in between your tasks, which helps you to realize that, one, you're achieving things throughout the day, and two, you're just calming that nervous system. What happens often is by the end of the day, you've just gone from, one task to the next task, you've gone from work to home, to parenting, to partnering, to, being a chef, to being a cleaner, you do all of these tasks. And you drop down exhausted at the end of the day, and you feel like you've got nothing achieved, because you've just been on the go the whole time. Whereas if you take that time to have that pause in between, you can really identify the different things you have achieved over the day. But it also gives you a chance to change from, maybe being the boss to being the person who speaks to the clients, or to being the marketing executive, to then being, the person on the phone, to then, having that parenting role, to having that cooking role, whatever it is. It gives you the chance to be present in the role that you need to take on next in a much calmer way, because it helps to calm that nervous system with that deep breath. And one of the best ways to do it is breathing in for the count of 4 and out for the count of 8, because if we exhale for a longer count than we inhale, it's even more effective at calming that nervous system.
Wow, I didn't know that. I mean, I've quite often heard about the square breathing.
Yes.
So, and it's just 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. So
yeah.
8 is a good thing as long as you can exhale for that long.
Yeah, exactly. Could be 6. If 8's too long, go for 6. Or it could be 3 and 6, 2 and 4, anything. As long as that exhale is longer than that inhale, it does help to calm the nervous system even more effectively. And so, as sometimes I just talk to clients about having an anchor for when you do that breathing. So it could be every time you walk through the door, or as I said, every time you change tabs on your computer, every time you stand up out of your chair, every time you have a drink of water, also have a nice deep breath. There's, create a little trigger or an anchor within your life that can help you to remember to have that pause and to have that breath to just help you reduce the stress throughout your daily life.
Yeah, anchoring's a good thing too. I've never really mastered the art of anchoring, but someone told me about it. So if I'm going to go make a talk somewhere and I'm nervous, and fear really is you should change it and flip it to I'm excited, I'm not fearful. But anchoring was one of the things, and press on a certain part of your body and do stuff and just make sure you do that. So when you get nervous, that anchors you with a pleasant thought, and then you won't be fearful and you won't be anxious. So but
that is one of the NLP tools that we use.
I've never I keep forgetting to do it, but it's a good technique though when I remember to do it.
Absolutely. And you can do it, you don't have to do it in the moment. So you could do it right now, where you press on your knuckle, remember a time when you felt really calm or really excited or really confident, and you just remember that time. And as you remember that time and you feel and hear and see what you thought in that time, you press on your knuckle while that emotion is really, really vivid and strong for you. And you just do that with a few different memories and anchor it into that spot, and then it will be an anchor there for you.
Yeah, that's what I was learning, and it's I think, oh God.
Yeah, exactly right.
Maybe I just do it subconsciously, because I just found myself anchoring on my knuckle here, and I thought, but I'm not nervous.
Well, you might be anchoring your confidence that you're feeling right now. So then next time you need it, you can press that and it will come back to you.
Good idea. So Lucy, where can people find you?
I'm on Facebook at Lucy Butler Head to Heart Health, and on Instagram at Head to Heart Health, and my website is headtohearthealth.com.au. I'm mostly in Facebook. That's where I find that I love to play the most with people and give the most information. I have a 6-day free challenge coming up at the end of October as well, to help people reset and connect. So I'm just going to be doing little tips and tools every day with a little activity with people every day, just to help reconnect with their bodies, calm the nervous system, and reset a little bit before we go into some of the busiest times of our lives over summer.
Yes, sounds exciting. I have to keep an eye out for that.
Yes.
And Lucy, I'm not sure, have you written a book?
I have not written a book. I have got an online course that I'm launching soon, and a couple of ebooks in that online course that people access as workbooks through the course, which is pretty exciting. That's going to be launching in November. Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure you've won some awards too, haven't you?
This last year, I was the runner-up in the Faith Award at the Freedom Awards and the Contribution Award at the Freedom Awards. This year, I have been nominated in the SA Woman in Business Awards, and also one of the Freedom Awards as well. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about that. That's pretty exciting to be nominated and recognised for the contribution that I've been making this year. It's been really exciting to find
congratulations.
Out. Thank you.
I know SA Woman, I was a member of the tribe there.
Yes.
And I lived in Adelaide. So it is full of amazing women. And honestly, Carly does an absolutely wonderful job trying to keep it all together. So.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the most valuable communities that I've been a part of since I've started in business, and I couldn't be more grateful for the amount of effort that Carly and her team put into that place. It's just it's phenomenal.
It is. It's terrific. All right. Any last words of wisdom, Lucy, before we go today?
I think my last words of wisdom are just if you can just take 5 minutes a day for yourself, it's going to help. And you're worth it. You're all worth it. You're worth 5 minutes a day. It's worth it to try to just do something for yourself every day that helps to calm that nervous system and de-stress. It really does make a difference to your health and your happiness.
Terrific. All right, Lucy, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
Awesome. You too. Thank you. Bye.
Talking with the experts.